Hey there, everybody. Welcome to May 23rd, 2021. Although this video could be watched many days and months, even into the future. Because this is a video about how to update the MLB algorithm, the baseball algorithm. How do you do it? Oh, God, you're not going to. This is going to be one of the most boring videos ever. I'm just warning y'all right now. So, oh, God. All right. So here's the situation. So you've got this amazing conglomeration of stats and formulas and stuff that somehow kind of works pretty well. I mean, you're looking at yesterday. Yesterday being Saturday, these projected scores right here, and these are actual final scores of games. So when the colors kind of match up, that means, we predicted 5.4 runs for Arizona. They end up scoring 6. I don't know why we only had 3.6 for Colorado. That's weird. And that's not going to be a win in that game. Anyway, point is, how do you update this thing for the next day? Because if you purchase the MLB algorithm from me, I always complain and I whine. I whine like a little girl. And I'm like, I don't want to do this every day. I don't want to work for 2 or 3 hours on baseball every day. The answer is, especially when I'm not betting on it and I'm not even in a state where you can wager. Boy, do I not want to do this work for no money. There's that. So that's why I started charging more per day and I actually made it $100,000 for the season, which sounds like a joke. And it kind of is, but not really, because you can use this to make much more than $100,000 and a whole lot less than the entire season. So if I'm actually going to do this every day for one person, that's what I'm charging. Otherwise, I'm just going to do it whenever I feel like it. And today I feel like it because I told everybody who's interested, how are you going to update this thing? Well, get ready for a long, boring video, because here we go. So here you have yesterday. Well, when you're going to be organizing data and you're going to be grabbing a whole day's results, which was yesterday's results, and we're going to paste them into a results sheet, which we already have some information in already. But we're going to just go through the process to understand how you update this thing from one day to the next. We're moving this thing into the 23rd of Sunday, and it's sitting and it's showing games from Saturday, the 22nd right now. Well, the matchup sheet has some results. All right, are the results done? I think I wrote the final scores in here. We could go check. My place where I subscribe is Rotowire. Rotowire is the site that you want to go to in order to get great stats. I pay them, I think, like $9.99 a month or something. It's awesome. You use their service. So let's go to baseball, and under baseball, we grab some information for the day, and we also can look at scores. They have scores from yesterday. So if we look at the scoreboard, I'm just going to double check and make sure that I typed the scores in correctly from yesterday's game, because I did fall asleep at some point last night after hiking the Appalachian Trail yesterday. It was nice. All right, let's do 6-3 Giants, 6-4 Padres, 3-1 Rays, 6-2 Athletics. That's pretty good, because here we had predicted 7-3, and look at the color coordination of these scores here. That's like right on. That's great. Similar thing here. Even San Diego puts up 6. We thought they were going to put up 6. Now, I'll discuss how to toggle this sheet in a different video, because it's a whole other discussion. But so I typed in the numbers here, right? Like it looked like this, and I typed it in to put the final in here. Well, all right, now we're done. So what do we do? What we could do is we could grab this whole rectangle of data. I'm highlighting this whole thing, and I'm copying it, and it's then going to go in the results tab right here. And I already put a place for it. It's right here. It's the 22nd. Look at the dates on the left. The 22nd is right here. So you're just going to put it right here as values. Paste as values, by the way. That's right click, paste special, as values, this one. Now, when you do that, you get the results. They put themselves in the proper spot here in the data set. And that's going to allow you to do things like go to this pivot history sheet, which I'm going to move over here. Pivot history sheet next to the results. If you refresh this table, this is going to give you the results from all the days that are in the results tab. This is the results information. and I'm just stacking all of the day's results on top of each other. We have hundreds of records in here already. So the results turns into the pivot history. So now we can have a look at how the day went yesterday. After any adjustments and lineups and stuff that happened later in the day, this was the final whatever. Although the Dodgers game had no line for some reason. So let's just put everybody at negative 110. These are these little things that I tell everybody about that take so long. There was a game that didn't have a line because the pitcher wasn't announced till later. That was a San Francisco Dodgers game. So we needed to put a line, and that's how you get a line in there. So this thing is sorted now 9-6, not a bad day on its face. However, Houston and the White Sox do lose at the top of the list. You could sort this thing by margin instead of power descending, and this is actually a better look. And there only Houston loses, where San Diego, Miami, Atlanta, and Oakland, of course, look at the projected scores and the actual scores. This is really good, actually. That's really good at the top of this list. Anyway, we'll talk about results later. But, all right, so that's how you updated the results. So now what do? We're trying to get this thing into Sunday the 23rd, right? And everything still looks like the 22nd. Well, get ready. Let's press save because here we go. So some things over. Let's work right to left like we are reading Chinese, which is I think up and down. Sorry, let's like we're reading Hebrew. Let's go right to left. So the tab over here, you're going to right click and refresh in these three purple sheets. These are data connections to, I don't know, MLB Pro Reference, maybe. They're somewhere, and they update stats. I'll have to look. We could look at the data connection if we wanted to, but we won't waste time on it. So you're going to right-click, and you're going to refresh these three purple tabs over here. One at a time. You're waiting at the bottom for it to actually tell me it actually refreshes before I move on, running background query, whatever. All right, done. So that updates some stats here. This is an automatic green tab. You don't even have to do anything over here. I can actually move it over to the right because you almost never have to touch it unless something breaks. All right, results we already dealt with. So let's move results over to the right as well because all this stuff doesn't actually affect anything in the algorithm. It's just a way of keeping track of history. So we'll just leave the results in that over here. You don't have to do anything here. Refresh, refresh, refresh. Okay, now we've got players, batters, pitchers, matrix, line. What's going on here? Matchups, odds. Yeah, odds too. Okay, well, let's start with odds, for example. Odds are going to be a very integral part of this and a difficult thing to do sometimes. So the odds area is over here in this column N. And I just cleared it out or pressed cleared contents. You don't want to delete. Don't ever do this thing. Don't delete stuff like that. But you just you press the button delete on your keyboard, which is different, or you do clear contents is the one you really want to do. It's clear contents because you don't want to destroy this because there's formulas that are touching this. Now, when I just cleared all this, there's still stuff over here, which is a simulated way that we're going to show all the lines. And the answer is you have to override some of these formulas sometimes. Stuff gets really complicated. I mean, people that want to update this every day understand why something takes me a half hour or more to do. It's because it's super complicated. So there was games that we had to override here yesterday. That's why that's like that. So I'm copying this rectangle here of a record of a game. It could be any one of these, actually. It could be even all the way up here. And you're just going to pull it down when you put the mouse on the, look at how my mouse is like a plus right here. It turns into that. You hold it down. That's the autofill. And you're going to override all this stuff all the way down to the bottom. And that's going to fix everything. All right. Don't ask why. That's what you just have to do. That's what fixes stuff. Now we need to go extract and grab odds from Rotowire. So let's go back to Rotowire. Here's how you get to the odds on Rotowire. It's under the baseball sports betting area. And what you can do here is you're going to have this area of data. And this area of data is going to be highlightable, but it's weird. Okay, so that all the game data and the odd data is hanging out here. And what you can do is, what I do is I press Control A on the keyboard, hold down Control A. Then I do Control C, which is copy. So I highlight it all with Control A, highlighted and copied all with Control A, then copied with Control C. Then you go back here and you right click and you paste this thing as match destination formatting, whatever that is. You right click and do that. What you get is you get a list of all that data in this order. And you have to look at how many teams it goes down to figure out how many games it extracted. So it got to number 14 is the last time a team name shows up here, as Indians at home. So that means there are 7 games that showed up here because it's divided by 2. So just rewind if you didn't hear what I just said. You go down to find the last team name, look at the number over here, divide it by 2, and put it there. That's what you do. So now all of a sudden you get 7 games that show up like this. Now, that's not all the games. As you can see, when you go back to the odds, there are more games. That's just the Red Sox through the Indians. Well, there are more games. So when you scroll down here, you start to see there's more games here. All right, well, do I have to copy again? The answer is yes. Yes, you do. Now, how far did we go down when we just copied it? It made it to the Minnesota-Cleveland game. Well, you got to find Minnesota-Cleveland, which is right here. And you don't need that one, so you got to put it right there. This is really like touchy. You got to put it right there, and now you have the Pirates at the top. Now you press Control A, Control C again. Now you go back to odds. There's another sheet I have for odds. And this one, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to paste the match destination formatting. We're going to look at how many teams showed up. The answer is also 14. So we get 7 here. So now we have another set of games that I don't even think we're done. Hold on a second. Seattle, San Diego. And then there's a Cubs-Cardinals game at the end of here that I think we need to type in by hand because that's annoying. Unbelievable. Because you can't... Actually, I guess you could try pasting it like this. Hold on a second. There's a couple ways to do this. So there's another game at the bottom. Can you see why I'm so annoyed at doing this every day? I mean, you'd think there'd be a better way to extract stats from here, but not really the way they align it in this table. It's difficult. So, all right. So what we just do is we got one set of games. We got a second set of games here. We have to combine the two. So I'm only grabbing stats once during the day because this is really frustrating to do all the time. So you paste it as values. That's what I just did is I highlighted this, copied it, and put it in the next available spot here, and I pasted it as values. And so now we've overwritten a bunch of formulas, which kind of relates to what I said at the beginning about why I had to override formulas before here, because we just overrode formulas is what we just did to bring in this data. And we're also, I guess, are we going to manually do this other game of this Cubs at White Sox? Right? CHC at St. Louis. I think this game's at like 7:10. Right? It's probably the only late game tonight. I don't know. I'm making stuff up. That's why I don't care and get stuff wrong, because I'm just like, I got to get this done. All right, so 120 minus 132. Minus 132. And this is a line for what the spread is. I don't care. And I don't care about any of this. So I'm just going to fake it. Or we can just leave it blank if I don't really care. Right? So you can fill in as much as you want here. It's going to bring this over to the matchup sheet. Okay, so now all of a sudden we've started to move this thing into the day. But we're not... We got to double check that we did everything right here. So what's going on? Apparently there are 15 games today. A couple of them don't have lines already for some reason. So do we have 15 games in this list? The answer is yes, we do. I'll go into explaining how to extend this. You have to highlight the whole thing like this and do two at a time. 1, 2, 1, 2. And that would get you to have more games, all right, as well as deleting to get rid of games. All right, so we have 15 games listed. That is correct. Now, let's get rid of the projected scores from yesterday. Delete. And we need to start updating the other tabs, the players and the pitchers and the matrix and the lineups, because it looks like we've got our matchups pretty much accurately coming into this sheet. I can tell that because I see all the team names here, and even though there are errors, I'll show you how we fix the errors. That's going to be related to pitchers and stats. One thing that's good to update is the pitcher stat year should always be 2021 in the beginning before you're doing any editing. So I just copied 2021 over here down. All right. So let's fix this and let's get everything updated. Let's grab our stats. Our stats that we grab are under fantasy, stats, basic stats. Now you could do, there's a million different types of stats you can do. So this is batter stats. You grab the Excel version. Then there's one for pitchers. This is all the 2021 stats, the only thing we're grabbing. And then you're going to open up both of those. And they have places that they go in this Excel file. Now there's probably a way to automate this and paste it right into the file. However, it doesn't really take that long, and you'll see that you need to double check some stuff, so it's kind of like you got to do it anyway. So here's pitching stats. You're going to highlight everything, grab the entire pitching stats cube of data, and then you're going to go to the pitchers sheet. And you're going to go up to this area which says Starts 2021. This is where the player stats start. It's right here. It's Trevor Bauer. It's rows 16, 18, and you're going to paste this thing. And then you can go down and see how much you pasted, and you'll see that you go all the way down and you've got pitcher stats that you've just pasted in here. So good, you're done with pitchers. Now we go to the batter stats one that we downloaded. My favorite player, Isaiah Kiner Falafel. I always say Isaiah Ralph Kiner Falafel. I love his name. It's funny, and Ralph Kiner makes me think of baseball. Anyway, so all right, we'll grab the batter stats. We're going to the players sheet, and we are pasting. We're going to paste right here. The reason why we're going to paste right here is this is a formula for team. It's a long story. You're going to autofill this. That's why I paste it one row below the top, and then I delete the top row after I paste the formula. It's a long story. So what you do here is you have this formula here that you paste down, and you've got all the player stats, and then you look and you say, all right, well, here is all the player stats. Awesome. So these people don't have team names. That's interesting. We'll talk about some errors in a second. So, all right. We've just pasted in the player stats. You pasted in the pitcher stats. You can now get rid of both of those because you're done with them. All right. Now what? How about lineups? Lineups are located right here under Fantasy Daily Lineups. The good people at Rotowire keep this updated throughout the day. This is the one you have to repaste and relook at every day. So you're going to highlight the whole thing. Control A, Control C. Copy it. Now you're going to go to the lineups sheet. This whole thing is going to go right here. Just paste this thing, match destination formatting right there in cell L1. This is going to paste all your lineups here in this one column L. Then you go over here and you refresh this table. This is a table that is going to update the lineups and put them in an ordered format so that we can find things like players that are not listed or their names are screwed up. So Boston, for example, has a pitcher today, and their pitcher is Edwin or Eduardo Rodriguez? His full name is Eduardo Rodriguez. So you got to use full names in certain areas of the file in the matrix. So his name is Eduardo Rodriguez. So what you can do is you can simply type over the name in the pivot table with the correct name everywhere where you see it. And that will probably fix the problem if we already had the name in the database, because we're looking for errors over here. Any error means that a name doesn't match. Or is it in here? Cody Petit is a new pitcher for Miami. So somebody who's new like that, you're going to put them in the matrix. The matrix sheet is the matrix of all the names of all the players. Cody Petit is a pitcher. And he's a pitcher for Miami Marlins. And so you've now updated him in the matrix names database, and he's no longer an error. And that means we are harnessing everything. You say Kikuchi needs to have his full name appear here, probably. There we go. No, he needs to be in here as well. This is a person who needs to be in a matrix. That is Seattle pitcher. Okay. All right, so we've got all the names taken care of. Now, every time you update lineups throughout the day, you might have new people in there, and you might have errors every time you update this. So this is the only thing that gets updated throughout the day is the lineup sheet. So why do you have to update lineups? Well, it matters. Everybody you see here is expected lineup, not confirmed lineup. So it doesn't mean anything yet. So when that updates, you got to update this sheet and refresh this thing. And guess what? We're not done. You know what else you got to do now? Now's the most annoying part. The batter sheet. So what the batter sheet is the batter sheet and the lineup sheet are related. The batter sheet is a table of everybody's lineup and whether or not we have them in this file working properly. So you right click and you refresh this tab right here and everything moves around and actually it looks pretty good. Wow. Okay, it looks pretty good because it's all expected lineup, people. There aren't any actual lineups in there yet, so some new players aren't showing. What this is this is the roster spot, the batting order, and then this is the number of players, the count of the number of players. Like there's twos down here, and I'll show you what that is in a second. And nobody's missing, and all these, unless they're like national or American League teams that don't have a DH or a batter here, this is probably all correct. So let's look at the twos, for example. San Francisco, Mike Troutman was traded. So anybody who played on two teams is why a two shows up there and might be okay. Yep, Ben Gamble was probably traded to Pittsburgh. And on Seattle, Jacob Nottingham, I guess, was traded. All right, so I think all this looks good. If that looks good, then is the matchup sheet work? Are we done? Oh my God, are we done for the day? Is it possible? You know what? We might be done. I think we might be done, folks. But, of course, we're not done for the day. We're just done for right now. We can talk about the games, but we're not done for the day because we don't have confirmed lineups in yet. And when we do get confirmed lineups in, which is like right around noon or whatever, 12:30, you're going to get lineups in for all these games and then be able to look at the updated thing. But as for now, here's what we got. All right, I don't know how many minutes we're into this video right now, but we'll take a look at today. And, oh yeah, and I'm going to do something else. So rather than go through every game, because man, I'm bored. I don't want to go through all this. This is a long video already. Here, let me show you the one last part to be able to glance at this and start your results tab. Here, grab all this information, and you go to the results tab, and you paste it right here. Paste it in the over/under runs column. You start the data right here. You now have a new day's data. You've got the 23rd, May 23rd. And then you can set up a formula that says, hey, go back to the matchup sheet and pull the new final score whenever these games actually get finished. And that way we'll know when we put in the final scores. Now, today, you get this look. This is why I did this. Is hopefully we'll win all these games, but we might not. This is what the day's look is as soon as I update lines. I don't have money lines for these games, but whatever. Minus 110. I'm just putting minus 110 in for whatever. And the answer is this. So this is a picture I can take and send out as the most favored games. It still likes San Diego. Now what's interesting is comparing this thing to Las Vegas or to the odds makers. The odds makers have it in this order, which is money line ascending. This is the way the odds makers have all the games. And so this, we should see, well, where is our margin big and this number not bad? Meaning this is consistent. The biggest favorite that Vegas has is San Diego. The biggest favorite that the odds makers have is the San Diego Padres. It is the same. The biggest margin is also the same according to the algorithm, right? So all that makes sense. Where is it differing? Well, let's look at it the way that I look at it, descending by margin. And the answer is, here we like the Dodgers that are only minus 32. We like Oakland a lot, only at minus 108. That makes sense. We like Milwaukee. Here we start to like two underdogs in the White Sox and Boston, although the White Sox have been losing to the Yankees, right? And Boston's been doing great. I don't know why Boston's line has been generous. They've been winning like crazy. Good for them. We like the Cubs, but that's in St. Louis. It's tough to win there. But you can see that descending by margin means that probably I like Boston a lot because they've been playing so well. I'd like to have another column over here for how the team is streaking. I think Boston's won at least 3 or 4 in a row. So anyway, well, whatever. This is the update. That's how you update the file. There's probably other things I forgot to mention about matrices and things like that, but as for just, you didn't get to see what happens when you have to update a batting lineup and change a team name. That's true. You might have to change team names in the matrix when people get traded. You have to change the team name in here. And other than that, I'm sure I'll answer other questions later, but that is basically how you do it and why I complain about how annoying it is. And there wasn't even any double headers today. I have to show you what happens when there are double headers because it destroys things. Ugh, double headers. Arg, 7-inning doubleheaders. Just, you know what? Can we just, can't, some teams don't play 162 games, maybe, if there's so many rainouts? How about that? I think that's reasonable. All right, guys. Good luck, everybody, and may all your picks be winning.